Wanted to make a quick video on how help my clients choose button layouts. So, um, choosing a good button layout on controller is really, really important in Apex because it allows you to play at a quicker pace than everyone else, especially on controller. On mouse and keyboard, doesn't matter too much. I mean, it's going to work out pretty much no matter what because you have essentially unlimited keys. But on controller, it's definitely something that you want to put a lot of thought into and sort of customize to your own liking. But there is one main thing that I tell my clients, and that's like priorities, having priorities for buttons. So I already wrote down like sort of my priorities for my buttons, and I'll just quickly talk about that. So number one, I play on a controller that has two paddles on the back, and I use those paddles for jump and crouch. So that just allows me to jump and crouch quicker. So I wrote down 1 through 5 in terms of priority for your buttons of like how quick you need to press those buttons. So number one is going to be jump and crouch. I've got both those on one because for me, I like to play really quick play style. Definitely like if you're a little bit slower of a play style of a player, like maybe an anchor type, you don't need your jump to be like instant always. It's definitely not fully necessary, but like me, I like to b hop shoot. I like to do like fun movement tech, super glides, and that sort of thing. So for me, it's a must have to have jump as like one of my number one priorities. But definitely like I think chaotic would be a really good example of someone who doesn't prioritize his jump at all. I think that he doesn't use paddles or his jump. Like he just uses his thumb to hit his jump. Like he doesn't play claw or anything like that because he's like a hard anchor, long range type player. He doesn't play super quick. Whereas maybe someone like maybe a Yanya who plays a lot quicker. I'm not sure what his layout is, but I'm sure he's not using his thumb to hit jump because that would be way too slow for his playstyle. So, um, and then we've got crouch also like just for me it's a 1, but for you maybe it'd be more of a 3, like if you're a slower playstyle player. But for me, I keep that as a number one priority, so that's why I have my jump and my crouch set to my paddles. Um, Interact, pick up, reload. Once again, for like fast paced players, this is sort of a must have as like either a 1 or 2. That's why I have mine on LB because it's super, like, it's not the quickest because it is really quick still because my finger is like on my trigger. So it's maybe not like the quickest because I can't aim down sights and open a door at the same time. That's like the one downside. It'd be quicker if I were to play claw or have it bound to a paddle, but still, it's like it's more than quick enough for me. So I really like that. I've got it set as a 2, um, meaning it's quite important to have it like quick access, but it's not a must have. Cycle weapon slash holster. This is really important. I think that not enough people prioritize this. So me, I don't play claw, and I only have two paddles. So I've got my cycle weapon on my left stick, which makes it literally instant. So if I don't one clip someone, which happens often, I just hit that left stick and then I swap weapons way quicker than they do, which that alone allows me to win so many engagements that I would lose otherwise. So um, yeah, left stick cycle weapon slash holster. A ton of pro players use this. It's really really nice. It kind of sucks at first. It's a little bit awkward to get used to, but it's really really quick. You should definitely have either that or be playing claw because if you don't have that, you're gonna be losing your 1v1s to players who do have that set up. It's really important. Um, Aim down sights and attack. That's obvious on left and right trigger. You can have this on left and right trigger or left and right bumper. L1, R1. Depending on if you're on PlayStation or Xbox. So yeah, that's super super important, obviously. Tactical ability. So yeah, this definitely depends on who you're playing. Like I put Asher Fuse. So like, let's give you a quick example. Some players like I know Zainu used to have this on his right stick. So right stick's super quick. Um, it's actually quicker than RB because you can, if you're playing Ash or Maggie, you can actually Q or Ballistic. If you have it on the right stick, you can actually shoot that ability while you're shooting your gun at the same time. And so that's like really, really good if you have that on your right stick for that reason. But it is slightly less precise for a character like maybe Bangalore, or once again Maggie. Like it's a little bit less, it's quicker because you don't have to move your fingers at all, but it is a little bit less precise because when you click it down, you might mess with your aim a little bit. I found because I use that a lot on like Maggie Bang and that sort of character, but I found that it was making me slightly less precise when I would click my thumb down. So that's really up to you. That's why I use it on the right bumper. It's a little bit slower because I can't click the right bumper while I'm shooting because I don't play claw. Um, so it's a little bit less quick, but it is very precise and it's still very very quick. So it just this strongly depends on what legends you're playing. If you're playing Horizon, it doesn't need to be very quick at all, and it doesn't need to be very precise at all either. But if you're playing Maggie, Bang, Fuse, Ash, one of those, it should probably be pretty precise. So I find RB or LB to be really well balanced for the tactical ability. Ping, this is self explanatory. I mean, I use down on the D pad. It kind of sucks, but it's a sacrifice, right? So that I can like have more important things, quicker access to more important things or things that I prioritize. So definitely down on the D-pad sucks. It's like the biggest downside of my button layout. But for me, I prioritize other things. So that's like the biggest negative of my button layout. Sprint slash toggle zoom. I play auto sprint, so this doesn't matter at all. Toggle zoom, it definitely sucks not being able to zoom, like having to click Y to zoom. It definitely sucks. But once again, it's just a sacrifice that I make. So, but sprint doesn't matter at all because I play auto sprint. So, melee. This is definitely like controversial because I prioritize melee heavily, and melee in Apex is in general not the best compared to like maybe like old school Call of Duty or like Halo or whatever. Um, I know Verhulst, for example, doesn't even have a bind for his melee, like a quick access bind. Like he's got his melee on B or something weird, and he just doesn't melee a lot, and that's fine. It's because melee isn't that good in Apex, anyways. So for me, I melee more than like I definitely melee quite a bit. So it just depends on playstyle. Like melee is really nice for like zipline fights because you can knock people off zip lines and whatnot. But I've thought about it and I find that I've prioritized melee way too heavily. So I've got that at a three. It really depends on playstyle. Um, but usually in Apex, I think melee's overrated in general. It's not that necessary, and that's why Verhulst, for example, doesn't have a quick access bind to his melee. Um, Next is health slash shield kit. This is a three. Obviously, needs to be really quick. Um, on an Xbox controller, you can use your left or right thumb on the D-pad, so it allows you to sort of it allows you a lot of flexibility that a PlayStation controller doesn't. But on a PlayStation controller, you can use your pointer finger on the D-pad. And so I think either way up on the D-pad is really solid, whether you're on an Xbox or a PlayStation controller. I really like it. I've got it at a three. You could put it at a two, but you know, definitely not a number one priority. But Yeah. Anyways, extra character action. I don't really even know what that is. Got it at a 5. Um, Toggle fire mode. Got that at a 5. I don't use it ever. Equip grenade. Yeah, grenade. Um, the thing is usually when you're grenading, you have like extra time, anyways, and so I've got it at a 4. It's usually you don't need to use grenades super urgently, um, so that's why I've got it on the right D-pad. Map, once again, not urgent at all. If you haven't caught on yet, or if I didn't say, these numbers are based on urgency. I don't know if I explained that right, but yeah, that's what I'm like, between 1 to 5 for urgency. Um, yeah, map. Obviously, you never urgently need to access your map. Ultimate ability, once again, sort of a downside of my button layout is it's a little bit awkward to hit that to get your ultimate out, but I find that that's mostly only an issue for Maggie, and I don't play Maggie. It's also not that much of an issue, even when I do play Maggie. Um, it's kind of an issue for Wraith as well, but not really. It doesn't slow me down at all, really. But definitely a negative of my button layout. So I've got it at a 4 because I find that for most legends, it doesn't matter really at all. So, um, yeah, that's my those are my thoughts. You can kind of decide your own button layout depending on your controller and your hand grip, your grip. Whether you claw on the left side, you claw on the right side, or you play just like a default grip, or you play paddles. You gotta decide for yourself. Um, but I think like for newer players, this can definitely be important. Like to sort of have a list of priorities from most to least important. Definitely like the most underrated one being cycle weapon. Not enough people prioritize this in their button layout. Most people obviously have this on like Y or triangle and they hit it with their thumb and it just isn't quick enough. Like, and I can tell like there's so many of you guys that are losing your 1v1s specifically because you have to click Y and it's making you half a second slower than your opponent or than me. Like so many people when I'm fighting them, I can just tell they're not swapping weapons quick enough and it's giving me a massive advantage over them. Or like interact, pick up, reload. Like you don't have a good bind for this. And so when we're looting, I loot quicker and then I get the gun first and I win the fight because I can loot quicker. So zip lines too, like interact, pick up, reload. This is playstyle dependent. I understand some people don't really use zip lines that much in fights because they're slow paced, but this is going to give you a massive benefit in door fights and zipline fights as well. So it's not just about reloading, picking up things. It's also about ziplines and doors. So just small things, and I think they're definitely going to win you some fights. So